Hey guys, my name is McCheeze. I am sitting with Oziriz, of course.
Cheese. I love
Cheese. Some cheeseburger. Oh, I could eat a cheeseburger right now. Are you kidding me?
Oh god. Not one of those lame McDonald's ones either. Like a
No. Yeah, like a proper one. Jesus.
Oh god.
Oh, okay. Fuck this video. I'm gonna go out and get a cheeseburger. That's
All right, man.
Yeah. See you later.
It's all good.
Nah.
See ya.
So yeah,
we share it on Facebook.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Just gonna post a video, a half-hour video with a picture of me eating a cheeseburger. Probably multiple cheeseburgers, but.
Oh yeah.
No.
Right. What are we going to talk about tonight?
Yes, exactly. We are just going to talk about the Guild Wars 2, because Guild Wars 2 have been out for quite a while. I'm actually losing track of time. How long has it been out? 2 weeks? 3 weeks? 3 weeks, I guess?
2-3 weeks. Well, I guess MOP is coming out next week.
Yeah, like 10 days or something. Oh dear God, me and time.
Well,
that's
it's
just
actually already been 3 weeks. Yeah, it's 2 weeks and a few days.
Yeah,
so 3 weeks, yeah.
It would probably be a good time, or well, a couple of weeks back would probably be a good time to talk about what we think of Guild Wars 2 now that it's live. But you know, we'll just do it now instead.
Hold on, what is this Guild Wars 2 you're speaking of? I've never heard of it.
No, of course not.
I'm pretending I know what I'm talking about.
You are just playing World of Warcraft all the time, right?
What? No.
No. Actually, I totally saw. So yeah, you've been working a bit on your own channel now, and of course, being the good guy that I am, we'll have a link for all of you in the description and probably on the screen right now too to help you out for Oziriz channel. And you made this.
Guy, we can discuss that in another video if you're a good guy or not. But yeah, let's just assume right now that you're good.
Yeah, that can probably be a long discussion. But what I was going to say, yeah, you put out a video about why you should play Guild Wars 2, and to be honest, that video is totally accurate, and I loved it. It was probably the best thing you put out so far.
Well, thank you.
Yes.
Wait, you saying my other videos are shit? Is that what
I am not talking about your other videos at all. Nah, but really, making videos for YouTube is a learning thing, and to be honest, I just really like that one. I generally like what you're putting out, but that one was extraordinarily good, very well produced. So I'd also say that.
Into your eyes and
yeah, exactly. I was actually it was an emotional moment when I saw it the first time, and the second, and the third, and right.
I'm still watching it while we're recording right now.
Yeah. No, but really, I'll go check it out, everyone, because it's a good video. But you were having some thoughts about why I should play Guild Wars 2 and stuff, and what Guild Wars 2 was doing and all. But the thing is, of course, now that we've been playing it for a while, what's your thought on Guild Wars 2 now? What I mean,
no,
what have you been doing?
The question is, why shouldn't you play Guild Wars?
Yeah.
Name one good reason to not play it, other than you're a sad person that doesn't like to play with other people. I don't know.
No, I agree. If you really don't like, if you don't have an internet connection, I probably wouldn't buy it.
I mean, the biggest reason why most people do not want to go into an MMORPG is because there's a monthly fee involved, and that's a very good reason to not hop into it, because you'll feel forced to play it. And this game doesn't have that, so it's pretty much like buying any other game and just checking it out.
Yeah.
Really, because you just pay like one time and then that's
It's a lot like buying Skyrim or whatever. You have this huge epic world you can go out to, and you go out to it anytime you really want to. And yeah, I totally agree. There isn't really a good reason if you like MMOs. There is no good reason to not buy Guild Wars 2. You can have a ton of fun with it, and you don't have the same, oh god, I have to play because I'm actively paying for it. No way.
You don't even have to like MMOs necessarily, because it's really, really quite something different. It's much more. I don't know. There's no like, your time is not wasted. You don't have to group up, find people to do stuff like traditionally. So it's more, hop in and have some fun, and it's really just quite great.
Yeah, that is very true. It actually worked remarkably well like that.
Yeah, it does.
Wow. But what have you been doing in the game so far?
Well, I've actually had not that much time to play. I mean, I've been doing my personal story on my channel, and I've been trying to level on WoW to get to 85 because I decided to cover this game for my channel as well. And of course got sucked back into raiding. But that's a whole different discussion right there. But I'm leveling in WoW, and I've had very little time to actually play the last few days, but I'm almost level 40, and I'm just been leveling, enjoying the world, really.
So taking your time, enjoying the content?
I think the most amazing part is because, I think the most amazing part is that I level with people that are beneath me. Not in, like, they're beneath me, but they're lower level than me.
Those lousy peasants.
I think it's great that I can just go in with them and not even realize or notice that I'm in a lower level area. I think that's just really awesome.
Yeah,
that's really great.
I totally agree on that part. That has been very enjoyable, that things are just scaling so smoothly. You hardly notice. You can slightly feel sometimes that you're higher level than you're just scaled down.
If you go into the beginning area of a new area and you're like high level, you get like level to the max level of the area pretty much. So the lowest level mobs in that area are kind of like easy to beat, but other than that, it's not like one shot. You still have to like, move and do attacks, but it's slightly easier, sure.
Yeah. But besides that little thing, I mean, it worked remarkably well, and I'd say that this game, as I think we have touched upon this in the past too, it has a really amazing world. That has probably been the one thing I have been most surprised about again and again, is just how great it feels to be in the world and walk around in the world, and it really feels alive.
Yes, it does.
There's, I mean, both in the sense that we have the dynamic events, of course, which is doing a ton to make the world feel new, and you quite know what's going on, and you can come to some place you've been at 1,000 times, and then suddenly there's an attack going on or something. That's pretty cool in its own, but also the fact that the world just feels alive with NPCs all over the place, with people talking and stuff going on and all that. I mean, it really doesn't. Being in one of the major cities really doesn't make it feel like a static MMO in any ways.
No, and I think that they really nailed that. Like, just the immersiveness of the game. Like, as soon as you start, it is really quite overwhelming at first, but once you get used to it, really everything just comes naturally and it feels great, really. It's quite an amazing feeling when you get used to that. But I've seen a lot of people complain about that they out-level the hearts, and I had the beginning in the first few beta weekends events, I had that as well because I was completely focusing on those hearts. Whereas right now I'm just like walking around and doing stuff constantly, and events pop up constantly, and my heart's complete pretty much automatically, and it works surprisingly well.
Yeah, exactly. You just have to kind of learn how to play in the world. I think that's actually one of the I don't know how to say this properly, because it feels really great to just be leveling and exploring the world, because especially for the first time when you don't have the gateways, teleporters thing active, then you have to go out there. You can't fly. You're not getting transportation. You're not getting anything. You just have to get on there on your own and figure out what's going on. That's cool. And try and participate in as much as possible and do as much as possible. And then leveling isn't a problem, but you don't really figure that out on your own, and the game doesn't do a whole lot to tell you how it's different from other games in that respect. So I could easily...
Yeah, exactly.
I could easily see new people kind of having problems getting into the game because they feel like, I just have to do my personal storyline and complete these hearts, and then that's it. But no, that's really just a way to get you around to the world. That's not playing the game properly.
No. I think the best way to... If you want to experience that, if you have a hard time with it, there are many events that are like chains. A lot of people don't realize this, because when they're done with an event, you see a lot of people just walking back to where they came from.
Yeah.
And what a lot of those people don't realize is that you either have to talk to an NPC to follow up, or you have to wait a few seconds for something else to happen. And that's really the best way to do it, because if you just get carried in a chain and then you're done with it at some point, and it usually ends in a pretty epic fight as well, then you look at the map and you're suddenly on the other side of the world without having completed any of the hearts, and you're just somewhere else without really having realized with how far you've actually gone from where you originally were. And that's really the way to do it, just to guide yourselves by doing dynamic events, pretty much.
Yeah, so very true. Yeah, but that, and it's kind of fun. I've been having a kind of an internal discussion, if you will, about whether they should. Yeah, I'm having these internal monologues with myself.
One of those.
Yeah.
Who doesn't?
Exactly. Having a long philosophical talk sometimes. But this particular talk has been about whether or not Guild Wars 2 should do more to kind of show people if an event chain is going on, if it's just a single event, you know, if there's more coming, because sometimes it could take some time before the next event shows up. And to be honest, I think it's one of the things where it probably takes a long time for players to actually figure out that you have to, you know, you have to notice what's going on in the world. You actually have to pay attention to the storyline and pay attention to the NPCs and stuff like that.
Exactly. That's generally the issue what people have. They've gotten so used to this World of Warcraft leveling where they don't even read quests anymore. They just go ahead, look at the map to the blue area, and that's where they go to kill the 5 things that they need or loot the 5 things and then move on. Whereas in Guild Wars 2, if you talk to the scout and actually listen to what they're saying, what's going on in the area, and you walk close to your hearts, the heart dude will often say what's going on as well. Mm-hmm. Like they'll give a subtle hint like, oh, I'm glad those centaurs are not close by right now or whatever. And you really understand what might happen soon.
Yeah.
And
actually,
get a better understanding of what's going on.
The amount of voice that are actually in the game is amazing. People react to you, what you're doing, and to your presence, and all that stuff in so many ways, and they have so many conversations going on at the same time. It is amazing. I was afraid that when I was just walking around or standing around or like hearing these NPCs having the same conversation over and over again, right? And that haven't been an issue at all.
I've had one conversation that has been repeated, and that's close to the crafting area.
Okay.
But I guess you'll have that. That's this one where this human talks to an Azura about a rest room area, and then he makes a joke about that they have a sewer system, and it's quite funny. But here for the time, it's not so fun. But yeah, that one has been repeated. But it's not like every 5 seconds. It's more like every 30 minutes probably. And because you're just standing there crafting all the time, you hear it often. But other than that, it's not really an issue.
Speaking of crafting, have you been looking a lot into that?
I have done some, not majorly. I mean, it's a pretty basic crafting system. It's nothing special. What I do like about it that it is simplistic, but it actually, like everything else in this game, it makes a lot of sense. Where the items that you actually need to craft something, like if you are a weaponsmith, like in WoW, for example, you need mining and weaponsmith, and then or armor smithing, and then you make bars and then you make stuff. But you need to actually farm wood in this game to make hilts, and then you need to make the top of an axe, and then you combine that together with like an enchantment or something like that to make a weapon, which makes a lot of sense, really.
Yeah, that's.
And I really like that. But again, it's really simplistic. It's nothing like down to earth hard or anything. It's really easy and makes sense.
Yeah. So I don't know. I wouldn't say I necessarily have been disappointed in the crafting system, because the crafting system is in many ways like other crafting systems. I guess I'm just not very much into them at all. I haven't been too interested in actually doing them because they are I don't know. I don't know. Oh wait, but. It's
what I do know is that you need to legendary weapons in the game are pretty much all crafted, I think. So
okay, that's you're cool. Probably
it's a lot more important than it is in WoW, for example.
That's a good thing then. So you actually have some kind of motivation for crafting it. You just don't find the crafting procedure itself to be extremely interesting.
Nah.
But I should probably give it another chance, especially now they have improved it so you can get material straight out from your bank. You don't have to go back and forth between your bank and the crafting area, stuff like that.
They should prove it. And ArenaNet is still innovating after the release, guys. It's not just that they stopped working.
They are definitely listening to feedback. That has actually been another point about Guild Wars so far is, I think, okay, admittedly they had some problems in the first week or so where their trading posts and other features were more or less constantly broken. That was kind of annoying. At least
they're honest about it and say, you know what, it's broken, we're taking it down and we want it fixed, rather than saying like, no, it's not broken, like another company I know tend to do.
Yeah, admittedly, that's
a year later or something like that.
Yeah, that's definitely a good thing. And another thing I also like about the whole thing is that, okay, so it's down, but it doesn't really influence the rest of the game in any way. They can just like take this module of the game down and say, okay, this is down for maintenance, rest is still up and playable. That's kind of cool.
I think they have some pretty smart programmers there, server programmers. That server side is pretty damn genius.
Yeah, that is very likely. And yeah, I've been impressed with the speed they've been making patches and stuff and bringing stuff. Well, fixing bugs. Also, yeah, as you said, implement some new features. And on top of everything else, you know, the game has been running, at least for me, very, very smoothly. I've had a few disconnects things, but I've always been able to log back on, and I have actually never experienced downtime. I know there has been a little downtime, but I've never experienced like the world has been down or the world has been laggy or anything like that.
No.
That has probably been the best thing by the launch, that it has just been running. I mean, the game has been playable at all times. Stuff has been down for maintenance, the chat has been buggy sometimes, but I have been able to play all the time. That's kind of the worst thing about new MMO launches, been stuck in a queue, right? And just, okay, so I can't play this game and I have to sit in this queue for 2 hours.
Yeah, that's definitely not been the case, especially since also sorry, I just saw something really funny here. But yeah, it's been great that you know, besides the fact that it didn't work, you could still play the game, and that's pretty damn great. Most games cannot handle that. I remember the Star Wars launch, for example. I mean, you had to wait in queue. That's just, oh god, there's nothing more worse than finally wanting to play your game you've been waiting for, to wait in queue half an hour to get into your fucking server.
Yeah, exactly. Makes you want to not buy the game at release and just give it a couple of weeks, and that's just wrong. You should be hyped about the release of a game, and you should, you know, be wanting to play it and should be able to play it.
Yeah, totally. Something else though, you've always touched this, like the voice acting, but I want to talk a bit about the graphics.
Well, then go ahead and talk about the graphics.
Amazing. I mean, they're just something else, man. I mean, I like the art style in WoW, but when you get used to the Guild Wars graphics and like just the insane scale of everything is insane.
Yeah, that is true.
Insane used twice in one sentence. That's a lot, but
it's twice as insane.
When you especially, I noticed it. I did actually in my video did a walk from that area towards Lion's Arc. In Gandaren Fields, level 15 to 25 area, I think it is. You could walk up to Lion's Arc, and when you stand on the other side of the map, you can already see the entrance because you can look really far in this game. And
yeah.
You just walk up to it, and it's just this massive doorway and with boats and things, and it's just wow, really amazing. They really got that whole feeling. Yeah, right.
I think that's actually another thing. The architecture is very stylistic. I mean, they have some very cool styles to almost every place, and they're just sticking to it. So, I mean, I remember back in my early WoW days, I was coming down to Booty Bay, this pirate town, and it was just like, wow, this place just looked amazing. It has exactly, so unique style all the way through it, and it's just like more or less area is like that in Guild Wars 2. It's really unique.
Yeah. Yeah, and then you think like, wow, this next area is probably pretty much the same, but every inch is different. there's no copy pastes as far as I've seen. No dungeon, no cave, no house.
No, exactly.
Some house might look the same, but they're still slightly different, and it's just, and even the inside of the houses are different, and it's crazy the amount of man work that must have taken. It reminds me of this one trailer, this French dude that works there. I can't remember, he's an artist there, and he said that they treat their environments as if they were persons themselves, and I always chuckle at that, like, yeah, that's an artist talking for sure. But now I really understand what he's saying. Honestly,
it very much feels that way. Yeah, it really does.
Yeah, it does. Especially like the things that move as well. It's not just the buildings, but when you see like this giant windmill, and first you glance and think, wow, that looks epic, but then you really look at it and you see it moving, and you really see that there's a weight to the spin, and things to the side are moving, and when you inside the mill, you see like all these moving cogwheels, and everything just works.
Yeah, they actually feel very, very complete, and feels like they thought about it. It's not just like, oh, there's a windmill in the middle of a desert. Well, that makes sense. No, it's placed there because there's fields, and it's built like you'll build a windmill. Okay, admittedly, as far as I know, the one you're talking about has masts, right? That drives it. But that's just a cool thing with the aesthetic of and the theme of the whole place. So,
right.
I mean, you're building it outside a port that has been flooded, where you have a ton of broken ships. Why not use masts, right?
Yeah, totally. But I've just been amazed by it. It's great. I was going to say something else about it. Oh yeah. Also. This amazing experience I had. There were crop fields there, mice fields, in Gandaren Highlands, or Gandaren Fields, I can't remember what it's called, this human area. And when you throw your sword through that, I just attacked this 200 sword of my warrior, where you throw your weapon, you can see the crops moving where your sword goes, and it comes back. And that's, I've just been standing there, ooh, this is cool.
Yeah.
Ooh, this is cool.
It's small things, like especially when you notice it, right? Like also noticing how your character will follow your target with their eyes, and how your character, again, when it stands on some ground that are a slope or something, their legs won't just be, looks like they're standing on a flat surface. They will actually be spreading the legs a bit to stand on this surface, on this slope.
Yeah, totally.
So stuff like that, it's so they've really been paying attention to all the details. So one thing though that has been bothering me a little bit about Guild Wars 2 is that if we, I don't know, are we done praising it? Because we also have some critique, obviously. At least I have a little bit.
Critique?
What?
Yeah, totally. Of course, this game is not perfect. There's some features lacking, and there's some concern about what people call endgame, and
Yeah, exactly. There's been actually we could start with endgame. Not that we have experienced it, but one of our friends were going up to a max level quite fast, and apparently there isn't that much to do besides, well, you can run the dungeons, and you will defeat the Elder Dragon, which is kind of the one you're going after all the time. He is apparently rather easy to defeat. And this is, of course, all second-hand information, which is kind of a problem. We will probably end up talking about it again when we get there ourselves. But it seems like, there's a problem with this, and a problem with, okay, when you get to max level, you are working on... You're not really improving your gear as much as you're just getting new looks for it, and... While that can be fun and interesting in itself, it's also taking kind of the character progression out of the game. At least the character progression that many people are used to.
Yeah, indeed.
So...
very, very interesting to see myself how that really works, and how I don't know if it will affect me in any way, but we did a guild run in the dungeon, and it looked like a lot of fun, and it's something that, at least as we keep that doing with guildlies, I think I could do that for a long time. But I don't know, that I defeated that Elder Dragon, or he defeated that Elder Dragon so fast, that really got me a little bit bummed out. I'm thinking, wow, already? That's supposed to be like the Master Dragon or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. So it's kind of okay. It's cool that you can get to that already, I guess. But it's also like, what is the motivation to keep playing? And I actually had a long discussion with the guy yesterday about what is up. Is it just because we are World of Warcraft players and we are used to this constant? There's always a way to improve your character, right? Is it just because we are used to this thought about always improving your character, always getting higher stats and all that stuff, that we just can't adjust to this new way of thinking? Or is it actually a problem that character progression in a power kind of way seems to be stopping quite early, and then you're more working towards the aesthetics of your character?
Yeah. It's really a valid concern. I have no idea, really. I think obviously it is because we're WoW players, but if you're not a WoW player, I'm not sure how much that affects you as well. Because I mean, you gotta have some sort of progression out there as well.
Yeah, that is kind of the core thing in MMOs. Of course, you're getting a world that is very much alive, and you're getting some good PvP systems and stuff, but the question is if that's enough to keep you playing. And you can also visit all the areas because you're scaled down. That's also cool, but again, that'll be more of the same thing. I mean, leveling a character is interesting because you can explore everything for the first time, but that will grow old eventually, and despite them adding new content, I think.
Yeah, it totally depends on what they do for future content, and if this is what they intended with it, or maybe our friends didn't get the whole story, and maybe this was just like a pre-event or something like that for something that much bigger that's going to happen. I don't know if that's either, because I wasn't there. I mean, he just... If
anybody knows, they're more than welcome to comment. We would actually love to know. This is a rather interesting question and discussion.
Yeah. As far as we know, I mean, Guild Wars 1 didn't really have that much PvE either, right? I mean, they had their dungeons, but it was not like anything major.
No, exactly.
So maybe they just want these world events to be something you do, but not like too serious. I don't know. I don't know what their intent is with it. It's hard to say.
No, exactly, and maybe they just don't want the game like WoW, where you are constantly trying to progress, right?
Nah. Yeah.
Which I could also understand for sure.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting too.
Because suddenly the world is just this big system where you are you're doing a raid instance, and then you're waiting for the next raid instance, and then you're doing that raid instance, and all that stuff, and the world quickly becomes very much. It doesn't feel nearly as alive or interesting because you just constantly know what's going to happen next.
Yeah, and maybe they're just introducing people to how the mechanics work, and they'll do some harder stuff later. I don't know. Like I said, we'll have to see in the future what they do.
Yeah, definitely. Another thing, though, and this is just something I've been feeling a bit personally. I haven't felt a huge incentive to log on and play the game. I certainly enjoy it when I play the game. It's a lot of fun, and again, that dungeons, which I think I'll touch upon in a second, we ran were a ton of fun, and the few times I've been playing with someone else, that's all been a lot of fun, but I really haven't found a great incentive to log on every day and keep leveling. I don't know if you can follow me on that at all.
That's exactly what I meant with my video, is that it's not, because it doesn't give you the main purpose to level in that sense, and it because they don't say go to max level now and you will be allowed to raid, or you'll be allowed to do this, because no, you can jump into PvP whenever you want, and you can do dynamic events at low level, and like I said, it's pretty much the same at level 1 as it is at level 80, except of course that the battles will be a bit more epic at level 80, but it's a different style of game. I see it more. I've had the same. I really love the game. I think it's amazing, but I have not had a reason every day like, ooh, I'm gonna play Guild Wars 2. But when I play it, I do have that. It's more for me like Battlefield in that sense, where like, ooh, you want to go play some Guild Wars today and have some fun? That's a lot more where I'm leaning towards with the game.
That's actually true. I guess, again, actually, I mentioned Skyrim earlier. It kind of feels like that. It's an MMO, of course, you're playing with friends. But, you know, it doesn't... at least I didn't feel like I had to rush through Skyrim because it would always be there. And I wasn't in a hurry to necessarily get anywhere. It was very much... that was very much about exploring the world for me. I guess it's kind of the same thing I've had with this, where it's something I'm going into when I really... when I want the experience... a great leveling experience and stuff, but exactly the game seems to be much more about the journey than about the destination, if you will, leveling wise.
Yeah, exactly. I could get really lost into trying to get to 100% map completion at some point, I think, but until I get to max level, that's probably not something I'm aiming for anyway. But I think it's also the fact that you don't have a quest log or anything like to worry about, whereas in WoW, you get your quest log and you're like, ooh, I'm gonna finish these quests, and you know, you get driven that way. Whereas in this game, it's so much more laid back, where, you know what, I'm gonna log in today and I can do whatever I want for a couple hours and then log off again. Yeah.
I mean, obviously, I'd almost say the game also supports more active playstyle with the dungeons and with the, what are they called, the PvP, for sure. And maybe it'll help whenever we actually manage to get into that for real, but so far, it feels very much like this, and I don't know, I kind of enjoyed it because I enjoy not feeling the pressure to get to max level.
I also think a big role is the fact that it doesn't cost a monthly fee, so you know that it's still going to be there when you log in a couple of days or in a week, whenever you feel like it, you know that it's still going to be there and it's going to be the same. And when you pay a monthly fee, it's more like, I want to get most of this game this month and then I'll see what happens after that.
Yeah, exactly. And the constant thing with many MMOs, it's been like, okay guys, this is the game. We have the leveling part of the game, which is the first thing. You'll spend some hours on that, of course, some days, some weeks, whatever. But the other part of the game is the end game, and that's probably what you want to get to. But you have to get through this first part and all that stuff, right? So that's more like, okay, I have to get through the first game so I can play the second game. And I guess it's just about realizing that's not the case here at all. Not even close.
No. And the fact that, at least personally, I haven't felt the need to replace World of Warcraft with it at all. Because with previous MMOs like Rift and Star Wars, I've always, you know, the game costs money monthly, and, you know, it's pretty much the same when it comes to endgame. So I feel like I have to make a decision between what I play, and that's why people go back to WoW. Whereas with this, I have like, it's just like a normal game. Like I said earlier, there's no monthly fee, so you can just jump in whenever you want. And, you know, like right now, Miss Pandaria is coming out. You're gonna focus a lot on that. But when you get into that raiding, like moment or way again, and then you can just, you know, do Guild Wars 2 on the sidelines again. And
yeah.
That feeling is actually quite great to have.
Yeah, actually, I think you're totally right. The overlap between this and other MMOs is actually surprisingly small in the way that works. And this is so far from, in many ways, so far from World of Warcraft and the wannabe World of Warcraft games, as I will call them. I'll probably get some catch fire for that, but yeah. But yeah. So one last thing then, that was the dungeon we've been talking about. We did the first dungeon, the Ascalonian Catacombs, I think it's called, right? You're in there for getting a sword, and then all hell breaks loose, and you end up killing the former king of Ascalon, which brought the kingdom and the city and everything down with him when they were being overrun by the Char. Just to give some background story,
it's
right?
Pretty much this, right?
Yeah.
The chick Air, the leader, or not the leader, but one of the heroes from the Norn.
Yeah, she's a big thing in the Norn starting area.
The Char dude warns her because, you know, obviously they killed all those people there before, so they didn't want to cause any trouble.
Yeah. How did you like it? I mean, was it the first dungeon for you? I can't remember.
Yeah, it was. I think the first word comes to mind, chaotic. It was really enjoyable and different. Different is also really. I think it takes a long time to get used to it. I mean, not a long time to get used to it, but to adapt to the style of play. And like, we were in there together, but in no way were we really playing together. Like, we were not communicating at all because everyone was just like, you know, trying to do their thing. And because the scenario is so new, like the abilities are so different from WoW. It's not like, oh, you taunt now, oh, I heal you now, and oh, dispel, and it doesn't work like that. It's more active. You need to react to what is happening right now. You can't really know beforehand what's really going to happen, especially not the first time in instance.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, actually, you are quite right with all that. Yeah, there's this whole thing where you have a very hard time predicting what mobs are gonna do at any one time. There seems to be so little feedback on who the mobs is gonna attack and at what point they're gonna use the special abilities and all that stuff. So it ended up being very chaotic and then okay.
I think one thing could really solve that. One little thing. I mean, not just that, but a target would really help.
Yeah. Yeah, some feedback on who the mob is attacking at what point, and probably, I mean, I had a hard time figuring out exactly what was causing the mobs to attack who.
Or at least, like, I get a message on your screen: the mob is facing you, or is attacking you, or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Because sometimes just a single ability was enough to bring you down, and while I kind of enjoyed the difficulty of it, it was rather annoying when you really couldn't figure out. I mean. At what point? Yeah, exactly. At what point is that attack coming? Because then I'm fighting one mob and then another mob across the room suddenly figures out, well, it wants to shoot an arrow in my face, and I don't know about it before I'm dead.
But this is exactly what Total Biscuit talked about in his experience in the beta as well, though. That it is not about predicting the moves like in WoW, like perfecting your tactic. It's all about reacting to your environment and you know, reacting to what's going on.
And that is so very true.
Earlier is it's really active, and it was horrible that because we didn't really play well together. But I think that if you are in a tight group and you play together for a long time, those dungeon experiences can become really awesome.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And I also think it was funny, and there is this. Yeah, you have to actually see what's going on in the world and react to it, and that was so very true in there. It just takes a while to get used to that kind of that style.
Yeah.
The concern would be if it is possible, because sometimes even if we were fighting one mob, it could be really hard. We were standing at a couple of guys. It could be really hard to see who it would be targeting and exactly see when it was gonna, land a big attack. Partly because of the number of particle effects on the screen at one time, it could get a bit overwhelming. But
yeah.
But yeah, beside from that, it's.
I think the most important part is when you get really well known with each other, with how your playstyle is, and the mobs. The great thing about this game is that the mobs have a little paragraph or a little note under their health bar saying what their attacks are.
Yeah, we should probably have used that more.
when you know that, you know kind of how to react to that. And when you know each other really well, or each other's playstyle, it's kind of like arenas in WoW, really. When you get to really high levels, you really need to understand how you work together, rather than doing a dungeon in WoW, for example. Like a random dungeon or something.
Yeah, that is... that is true for sure. And it's something we'll have to learn to look into. I guess one thing I noted in the dungeon was that we haven't really looked into a specialization of any sort. I know that there isn't specs per se in the game, but there are definitely roles you can take upon yourself by being more healing oriented or being more support oriented, partly through your choice of gear and through your choice of utility skills and weapons.
It's funny because people have been keep saying there's no Holy Trinity in this game, but Arena themselves kind of countered that with saying that there sort of is. It's just different. It's not about tanking, healing, and DPSing. It's about support, damage, and whatever the other
control
thing was,
probably or something.
Control, yeah, control, and that's exactly what it is, really. And some people are better at that than others, and especially depending on your spec and class, you're better at a certain role. But that doesn't mean one person is support, the other one is control, and the other ones are DPS. That's not how it works, because everyone can do a little bit of something, and that's really where the teamwork comes in, I think.
Yeah, totally. And I mean, we were definitely doing a bit of everything, all of us, because we didn't change our spec while being in there, and we didn't we weren't probably geared for doing any specific tasks. So I can also see there being some improvements there. And actually, I had a pretty good. I actually changed a few utility talents in there. And it was actually interesting to try and figure out, okay, so right now it seems like we might need a little bit more, healing, or a bit more control or damage output or whatever, and then just choose the utility skills accordingly. Because just being able to pick those up on the fly was really a big plus.
Yeah. Yeah, I really love that system as well. Like, it's really great. Works really well.
But yeah, I'd say we we probably have to do it a little bit more to figure out exactly if the dungeons will keep feeling as chaotic, or how they will feel in the end when you get really good at it.
Yeah, because you can say that it's unpredictable, but of course it will get a little bit predictable when you run it over and over, because you understand what the mobs do, and you can kind of predict. Maybe not when the attack comes, but you can kind of anticipate what's gonna happen, right? And also, I mean, this was the first time we did a dungeon ever, and we never really played together as a team either. And I switched my talents around and my things around, so I had no clue what I was doing myself. Everyone was using their abilities when they thought it was right, so it's really just very, very chaotic.
But we're playing on the easiest difficulty, right? Or now I'm actually starting to question myself. There is harder versions of the dungeon than what we experienced. That's probably what I'm trying to say.
Yes. You have explore mode, and then explore mode is a hard mode.
Yeah. So we were playing on an easier difficulty for sure. And I guess the thing is that if that dungeon got a lot harder in another mode, then for sure we would have to step it up. But that's kind of the interesting thing, that okay, we were having a pretty difficult time in a dungeon that was supposed to be on the easier difficulty. Wow, that's gonna be interesting when you're going to do it on a hard mode then, because it surely is possible. So that means that we actually have a pretty long way to go. We have a lot of we have to build up our skills a bit. And I'm kind of looking forward to that, actually learning to play even better.
Yeah, totally. It's gonna be very interesting, please.
So yeah. Do you have? I'm starting to get to the point where I'm thinking we have covered a lot now.
Said what needed to be said, really.
Yeah.
All in all, like I said in my video, I think any type of real gamer should really just buy this game and give it a try.
Yeah.
Honestly.
It's well worth it.
There's really no reason not to try it. I mean, it's not like WoW or anything. It's really something else.
No, I'd say
even if you don't like it, it's still worth experiencing the whole world as a whole. It's kind of like Skyrim in a way when it comes to that. Like you said.
Even without the dungeons, it's still a ton of fun. It's still well worth it just for. I'd say even just for the single player experience. Despite this being an MMO, you can easily play this without relying on other people. It's more fun if you do. It's more fun if you do stuff with other people. But you can easily play it just for the single player experience, and it is a good game. Even as a single player game. Even if you're just running around on your own, it is actually very, very well made.
Yeah, totally.
So yeah, let's.
Final words. Go buy it.
Yeah, exactly. Just go buy it. Even just go to Arena that site. I think they stopped selling it at some point. I think it was because of the issue they had, so they would actually not. They actually chose not to make money at some point because the game wasn't operating as well as they wanted it to, and I really respect that.
Yeah.
That is something I don't remember having seen before.
Yeah, no,
So,
it's really something else, the way they've been handling things. It's great.
And they just, I think it's just today, they announced that they have sold over 2 million copies of the game. And
really?
And it's been pretty much sold out in a lot of places too. So it's had a pretty good start, and that is well deserved.
Yeah, actually, kind of right. I was in a game store here in Norway a few days back because I was looking at some posters for my empty wall. But there was a dude coming and asked for Guild Wars 2, and they were sold out. So.
Yeah. So definitely been doing very well.
Which you then wonder how much could they have sold if they didn't stop all that.
Yeah, probably even more for sure.
2 million is great still.
Yeah, it's alright, and this is a game that'll probably keep selling for a long time, partly due to word of mouth, and well, it will keep getting support, and still doesn't have
And my video.
What? Yeah, because of your video.
What?
Yeah, I think that's like at least a couple of 100,000 copies right there.
Exactly.
Easily, so.
No, but yeah, and also I know a lot of people bought gems and stuff as well, and that's great. So
yeah, I'm going to do
myself,
that too at some point to get some extra stuff and some of the fun stuff. Again, well worth it when you're not paying the monthly fee and you want to get that extra and you want to support the game. So because you are totally getting a lot for your money.
Yeah, it's totally makes sense what they did with the store. It's great.
But we are kind of starting to repeat ourselves, so.
Repeat? We never do that. But, yeah, I agree. I could talk another 5 hours about this probably, but.
Yeah, like before I started recording this video. So how long is this gonna be? I don't know. Let's just start talking. Well, then we won't be done before tomorrow.
20,
that is that is actually very true.
Now or something.
I actually fear you're right. That's my bad. Then I should have been much better.
My speed.
What?
Nothing. My internet speed. I was complaining. It's a good thing you're recording. I said.
Yeah, bloody Norwegian internet. Anyways, that'll be it, folks. Thank you very much for watching, and as I said in the start, check out Oziriz channel and check out all the videos. We will keep the content coming for sure, as much as possible.
Yes.
So thank you, and we'll see you later.
Indeed. See you later, guys.